I never ever wanted to be a content creator. I call myself an accidental content creator.
Do you feel staying in your own bubble is the way to go, at least in 2025?
How I found my mentor through LinkedIn. I got to visit LinkedIn's Empire State office.
Oh, wow. What kind of posts should I focus on posting during my first couple of months on LinkedIn?
I'm really good at storytelling.
Right. Top 3 things that you have received by posting on LinkedIn. Hello everyone, I have Jahnavi here today with me. She is a recent grad from Cornell. Well, not so recent now, but she's a grad from Cornell and now she works here full-time in SF and she creates content on the side as well. Do you want to give your own introduction?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, I'm Jahnavi. I work at an identity verification startup in SF and I create content about career, tech and AI on LinkedIn and also on Instagram.
Wow, awesome. So how did you first get started with content? Like, what was the journey?
It's so funny because a lot of people ask me about this, and then when I was growing up, the only thing I never wanted in life was to be famous or to be publicly sharing about my journey. That was never the goal to start content creation with, and I never ever wanted to be a content creator. I call myself an accidental content creator. I was a student and I just got to know about this platform called LinkedIn from one of my seniors, and he told me that you can find an internship through this platform. So I created an account and then I was just looking at internships. This is like my first semester of undergrad. No student ever gets on LinkedIn at that time. And then I started following a lot of people who were sharing these career tips, but they were mostly for early careers or new grads and how to find jobs or even internships as students. But I started implementing a lot of that to get opportunities, like work on cool projects with other people, and somehow they just started working out, and it was just crazy to me as a student that I was able to get all these opportunities that people 2-3 years ahead of me are getting in their life. And my friends started reaching out to me about that. Started teaching them, and then eventually just started sharing my journey on LinkedIn, sharing these tips, and people started relating, and that's how I became a content creator.
Awesome. I love how you put an accidental content creator, because people very intentionally start posting on LinkedIn or anything and they think like, oh, if I post this I'll sound as cringe, and that will be the case. But that's a good way to put it. So you also shared very recently about how when you were in Cornell, you posting on LinkedIn and you being so open about your journey, about what you're doing, building in public kind of things, engaging people, got you so many opportunities. And I see a lot of students especially not wanting to post on LinkedIn or even commenting on other people's posts. Do you feel staying in your own bubble is the way to go, at least in 2025?
I think that's the worst thing to do in 2025. Also, I don't get why LinkedIn and the word cringe go hand in hand, because LinkedIn and opportunities should go hand in hand. I know the amount of opportunities I've gotten by just sharing my journey, the failures and also the successes on LinkedIn. So many people have related to it, but so many people have also just randomly come into my inbox and given me opportunities that are just wild to me.
Right.
So I feel like, especially if you're a student in such a difficult job market, where people are fighting for opportunities, putting yourself out there, sharing about your journey more honestly, talking about your work, even if it's just a project that you build as a student, is gonna take you miles ahead in your career and in your journey, or by just like comparing it to just like sitting around never talking about your work and thinking just people will come and hand over opportunities to you.
Yeah, that used to work during COVID, and people were like getting offers left and right, but it doesn't work anymore. So when you started out your journey, you mentioned that you started just engaging with people and you just started putting yourself out there. How did you go from there? Like, how did you even start thinking about it in a way that, oh, I should engage with these people to get the opportunities? I should now I can also start posting about things. How did you go from commenting on other people's posts then to going to your own posts? Right?
I have never honestly used comments a lot. I just started using it recently, and that to just engage with posts of other content creators I think are really valuable and to amplify them. However, the strategy that I use to connect people on LinkedIn is I know what title or what kind of job roles I want to grow into in my career. So I look for people in those titles, and then I look within those profiles too. I like to look for a common point. So I'll share a story about how I found my mentor through LinkedIn. I was looking for product managers. Working in big tech, and this was like 5 years ago, I guess. And I found a couple product manager profiles, but then in one of those profiles I found a person who went to the same university in India and was from the same hometown as me. And I used that as a connecting point for both of us. And since then, we've had multiple conversations. He's my mentor right now. He's a product manager at Microsoft. And that is a strategy that I always use to connect to people. I try to find a common point, or I follow their journey for a really long time and then use my research of those couple of months to connect with them, saying that, hey, like I saw you got this promotion, or hey, I saw you worked on this project or this feature and I used this feature and this is my feedback on it. Personalizing your outreach and reaching out to them with that really helps make that connection.
Right. So imagine you were a 20-year-old, or maybe you just started your undergrad, and you are someone who's very shy and you don't want to put yourself out a lot. What could be the best way to actually reach out? Like, obviously DMs are one thing, connecting is one thing, but putting yourself out there, if I'm not comfortable with it, what is the best way to do it?
Use some underrated platforms. So just find email IDs of people and reach out to them if you're not comfortable putting out your work. It's very easy to find anyone's email ID. You can use tools like Hunter or Lindy to find their emails. Find out their emails and send them a brief email introducing yourself, sharing some of the projects that you worked on, your recent work, and ask for a coffee chat. This doesn't need any form of publicly sharing your work, but this way you also reach out to them through a medium where not a lot of people are going to reach out to them. So you're seen, and your chance of getting a response back and making that network and making that connection also increases.
Correct. That makes sense. And if I have no projects, if I have not done anything which is very good or very publicly like postable, what kind of posts should I focus on posting during my first couple of months on LinkedIn?
I feel everyone has a unique story to share. You can post about anything. You can post about how you, if you're studying abroad, how did you make that journey? How did you build your profile? If you're at a university right now, you got a financial aid, talk about that. If you are studying a course, maybe talk about what that professor taught during that semester. What was the biggest learning and how are you planning to put it out in the real world? If you're working somewhere, you might not have any projects, but you would have just started. During my internship at the Washington Post, I used to put out one post every week summarizing all the work that I did from that week, and I got so much visibility from that. So I feel like you have something unique about yourself. You moved to a new city, how did you navigate that? You thought about getting a master's degree, you've just graduated from bachelor's, how did you know, the pros and cons, how did you weigh in on that decision? There can be so much that can be shared. You just have to think about what, it doesn't have to be work, it has to be what kind of effort did you put in the last 1 week to do something unique, and just talk about that.
Got it. So it's like finding your own unfair advantage in a way, and what is it that you have that most of the people do not?
Like what is the one unique thing you think you did in the last 1 week or 1 month, and talk about that.
And how do you make what you post helpful to other people? Like, because when you want that public visibility to get the opportunities that you got, you kind of have to add a lot of value to people who are reading it. How do you, like, what's your mantra to doing that?
I have been told so many times that I'm really good at storytelling.
Right.
And I did not know that before people started bringing that up. And I think storytelling is the most important skill you need on LinkedIn. Posts that have a story combined with value, it just shoot up in the impressions or in the way they perform, then just post with like, here are the 3 things I learned. So try to combine it with your own story, and there'll always be a story, because what's coming into your head about sharing value has some associated story with it. So if you think about, I want to share why I like working at startups. If I just post about, here are 3 things I like working about startups, this is not going to work. But if you add storytelling to it, that I've always worked at startups, I've only worked at one big tech company till now, and here are the pros and cons, and here's why I'll always be a startup girly. That works much better than a normal mundane post. So incorporating storytelling into the post that you want to share value with will help you go a long way.
Gotcha. Another question, like super short, top 3 things that you have received by posting on LinkedIn. Top 3 opportunities that you have received by posting on LinkedIn.
Yeah. A lot of it has to be related to content. Biggest thing was I got to visit LinkedIn's Empire State office.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful office. Got to meet so many interesting people. That is one thing I got off from LinkedIn. I got to meet the director of product management at PayPal through LinkedIn. She's amazing. She's so inspirational. And the third thing is I got a publication, a feature article about me through DMs on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. So like getting all of these things when you're so publicly out there also kind of feels like you have to kind of continue doing it and you cannot stop doing it. What's your take on taking a break maybe from posting on LinkedIn? Does it actually affect the amount of people you reach to, your posts reach to? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure once you just start working hard, putting in those hours and getting those results. But I also like to see it in a way where once you start getting the results or the opportunities you've always wanted to by working hard, you'll never want to stop. It has been very difficult for me to take breaks, but I've also, over the years, because I've created content on LinkedIn for almost 5 years now, I've developed my processes that help me churn out content faster than maybe like 1 or 2 years ago. So in LinkedIn, algorithm has been changing a lot, and I can make an entire video on that. But any social media platform, when you take a break, it definitely does hurt your engagement. On LinkedIn, I try to do at least 3 to 4 posts a week to keep my engagement strong. And how I do it is just I have a brain dump talk where every time I get an idea of what I want to post on LinkedIn, I just note it down, and then one weekend in a month or 2 weekends, I'll sit down and I'll pick some topics from that and I'll draft the entire post and schedule it. So I'll sit one weekend to schedule posts for an entire month, or sit 2 weekends to do it for an entire month, and then not think about it at all. Then all I do is log into LinkedIn when my post is live for the first 1 hour and just engage with it. So I think developing these processes help you churning content out consistently and faster. But if you don't do it consistently, your engagement is definitely gonna get hurt.
Got it. So if you want to reach out to people on LinkedIn, what's your secret technique to get as many replies as possible?
Be as brief as you can. 3-pointer technique. Share a brief introduction about yourself, what you're doing currently. Talk about one of your recent project or work that might interest them, and talk about one personal connection or one thing from their profile that interested you to show that the outreach is personalized.
Do you have a template for this as well?
These are the pointers of the template.
Awesome. So we'll link that down in the description as well. And another question is, we obviously use AI all the time now. What are the top 3 AI tools or extensions that you use for LinkedIn to make your life about reaching out people and actually posting on LinkedIn easier?
Notion is my second brain. I use Notion for everything. Notion AI is amazing. I use the AI meeting notes feature so much for my meetings. it's chef's kiss, and Notion doesn't pay me to say this, but I love that tool. I use Claude and Chat GPT a lot to give them a skeleton of my post and then draft out the entire post, which I again tweak before posting, but I use that. And then for editing, sometimes I use Canva and CapCut and some AI features from there.
So editing for videos and your like any sort of graphics that
Images,
you have. Okay.
graphics, yeah.
Awesome. So posting on LinkedIn has obviously opened a lot of doors for you. If someone was to go ahead, post on LinkedIn, what kind of results should they expect in the first few months? Because I know it's a long game.
Nothing, to be honest. Your reach and your engagement is going to be extremely low, but that is the thing with LinkedIn. Just like YouTube, it is a long game that you have to play. For the first couple of months, you can only expect to build a community, and then if you keep doing it consistently, that community will just explode.
And I personally feel LinkedIn and Twitter and all these post-based platforms are the best ways to get startup founders to notice you.
Yeah.
And I have noticed you getting a lot of replies from startup founders as well. What's your take on that and how important it is to actually engage with those people?
I think it's extremely important. I have gotten so many startup founders reaching out to me over email or just LinkedIn DMs to just schedule interviews or give me job
Oh, wow.
offers. And I think that comes a lot from just being in SF and being in the Bay Area too, because that has exploded after I moved here. But my take on it is that start following companies and start following founders who are building their companies' brands. Start following their journey, see what they're building, and then if they don't reach out to you, make a research document of like last 6-9 months and then reach out to them personally. I bet you'll get seen and I bet they'll be willing to talk to you.
Awesome. And another question is, did you happen to land the current tech job that you have through LinkedIn?
Partly yes.
Okay.
I interviewed at Persona when I was a student at Cornell and then got rejected after the final round because for my cohort they were only hiring 2 people. But I was posting a lot about my then job at Consulting, and the recruiter who interviewed me at Persona then DM'd me about like just congratulating me about my job at Consulting, and she said like, hey, like stay in touch about roles at Persona. I was like, you know what? I will. I looked at their job openings and they had a new product strategist role open. We talked about it, and because I had already done the interviews 9 months ago, I only had 2 calls and I got the job offer.
Awesome. That's a very similar story to what I did as well. I was like, I had just started posting on LinkedIn. I used to engage with founders and everyone. I saw the founder where I'm currently working. I just saw his post that they are looking for people. I didn't just normally comment my email ID like everyone else does. I saw their GitHub repository and told them, hey, these are the few issues that you should fix, and I'll be happy to work on them. And that's the way I got noticed and got through the door with
That's
the first
so smart.
interview. Yeah.
That's so smart. That's exactly how you use LinkedIn.
Just add value to the other
Yeah.
person without expecting anything, and if it works out, it works out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jahnavi,
Thank
for taking
you.
the time. All of the resources that she mentioned will be down in the description below, and her profile would also be there, her LinkedIn and Instagram. Go check out how she uses LinkedIn every day, and we all have a lot to learn from her.
Thank you so much for having me.